Okay, now next is to invite Councillor Chris Vaughan up as the lead member to make your case. Thank you.
So thank you for giving me the opportunity to use your scrutiny committee and your experience to assess what's happened. I understand I have to give you something a little bit more credible of why I brought this forward, but I'm here basically, as I've explained, to set out my interpretation and to ask for your experience to tell me if that is correct and if it is legally and constitutionally and procedurally correct. But the instance I will give you now is, and I'll quote, the Local Authorities England Regulations 2000, Schedule 4, Paragraph 2. The wording is that the decision falls to full council rather than the Cabinet, where the decision maker is minded to determine a matter contrary to or not wholly in accordance with the authority's budget. So if I give you my interpretation of what's happened, I'll be as concise as I can. October of last year, the administration made the executive decision to hand over the title of the multi-storey car park in St Stephens Place. Now, the owner of the shopping centre said that wasn't enough, and there needed to be an allocation, a money allocation. Now, this is now in the open, and it was in the papers of the January full council vote, and that was £2.5 million then, and that was out in the open. That's not part two. So then there had to be, or there was given a full council vote, which was specifically on the money allocation and then £2.5 million. So the full council voted then in January of the next year, of this year 26, February of this year 26, was given the specific vote on the money allocation to go in hand with the title to basically allow the whole transaction to go through. Now, the full council voted that down. It said that the administration did not have permission to give that money allocation over. So then the next month, following month in February, the administration presented their budget. In their budget, they presented a money allocation of, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, £5.1 million over the medium term. I think I'm right in saying that in the 26 this year, it was 1.75 million to be spent on maintenance. Now, that's the key point. In the budget, it was specifically, and that is the key word, specifically and explicitly allocated, itemised as maintenance. So 8 months or whatever on, 5 months, I think, up till now, recently the administration has basically said that they are now going to take from that budget, they are going to, I can't remember the exact term they used, repurpose, I think. They're going to repurpose the part of the maintenance budget and spend that specifically on giving the owner of the shopping centre a money allocation to go in conjunction with the title. Now, let me make that clear. That has already been denied by the full council in that explicit itemisation. So the full council said you cannot do that. The administration set aside a budget which it itemised as maintenance, and now it has repurposed that allocation to spend on the very thing that the council said, that the full council said that it could not. So with what I've told you before, I want you as a scrutiny committee to say and to tell me whether that is constitutionally, legally and procedurally correct. I think the public will make their moral judgment whether they think that's correct. I certainly will. And so why do I ask this? Why am I here? Why do I ask this question? For me, it's completely fundamental and so important. Because how could anybody in the future, councillors and the public, how could anybody have confidence? And I picked that word specially. I'd like to use another one, but I'm going to use the word confidence. How could the public and councillors have confidence that any part of the budget going forward or future parts of the budget will not be spent on what we were told they were going to be spent in good faith, and B, repurposed at something else. So I don't have the exact figures on me of SEND or adult social care or very important things that the council does. But why would I, as a councillor or the public, have faith that whatever figure you put in your budget going forward, you will spend that on those things and not repurpose it? So, I think I've given my my understanding of what's happened. Happy for you to say if I've got anything wrong there. I think I'm pretty on the money. And so I've given you the example. I want you as a scrutiny committee to say, because as I say, I think this is morally wrong, and I think huge parts of the public do. Can you, with your expertise as a committee, tell me whether that is, as I say, constitutionally, legally, procedurally correct? Because if it is, I think that's a pretty miserable situation. And I think it's difficult for people to have faith and trust going forward in future budgets. Thanks.